So, Mitch, right now it's 2025. What's the number one high income skill in 2025?
Dude, you already know what I'm going to say. Like, it doesn't matter whether it's 2025, 2026, 1995. Like, it's always sales. It's going to be sales all day, every day. The wealthiest people in the world, historically, from the beginning of time until the end of time, the overwhelming percentage are going to be people that at least started in sales, learn how to sell, learn how to communicate, learn how to sell themselves, and then ended up building a business or being key factors in a business thanks to their sales and communication skills. Uh, DMAC, I gotta ask. So, what are some of the unique things that makes your sales style your sales style?
It's all about empathetic selling. You have to be authentic. In 2025, there's so many gurus on the internet, people who are just selling people courses, and the trust is at an all-time low.
Yeah.
So it's all about authentic selling. And if you're not using this method, the NPC framework in 2025, it's costing you sales literally every single day. So you have to get started with the authentic selling style. So Mitch, I wanted to ask you because like you've tried in all different kinds of sales. You've used sales AI, you've done in-person selling. I guess what's the biggest takeaway that you've learned in your entire sales career?
That's There's so many different ways that I can answer that question. I'd say the biggest takeaway that I've learned in my entire sales career is say what's on your mind, right? Like you mentioned authentic selling, and I would want to take that even a step further and say, be direct with people. People don't really want you to beat around the bush and get them like to run around and try to think of a sugar-coated way to ask a question. You can literally ask them for consent to be direct and be honest, and you can break the fourth wall and say, hey, like I'm gonna ask you something because it's like really on my mind here, and then you can just ask them exactly what you're thinking, and they will appreciate and they will love you for it. So that's probably the biggest takeaway that I've had even just recently, right? Like really selling in 2025. Okay, Damon. Every single time you should be taking ADHD is crazy. All right, Damon. I'm really curious about this because I know that you've been in sales for a very long time. At what point in your sales career were you like, okay, I really have a knack for this thing, and I feel like I'm ready and able to help others do the same?
Yeah, I mean, I've been doing sales for 10 years, and like the first time I ever did it, I made $40,000 in the summer knocking doors at 18. So since day one, I've always been really good at sales. However, it doesn't stop there. Just because you're naturally good doesn't mean you're going to be the best in an industry, so you have to study from the greatest. But it wasn't until people started reaching out to me all the time. Maybe I hopped on a Zoom call with another coworker, someone who maybe is in a sales slump. We hop on an hour-long Zoom call, and then they're number two in the company, followed by number two in the company, followed by me. So at the end of the day, like it wasn't until people started coming to me, and then when I gave them the help, it completely changed their sales trajectory. That's when I first started really coaching and getting into the sales coaching industry. And Mitch, you've helped, between the two of us combined, we've helped thousands and thousands of people get started in high-ticket sales. Some people say remote closing is dead. What are your thoughts on that?
Dude, honestly, remote closing is just beginning. I mean, remote closing is literally the future of sales, of business, and everything like that. Because as every business and every industry becomes more and more remote and adapts to new changes in the economy, new changes in marketing, new changes to how people buy. I mean, remote closing, this is just the start. We're at the forefront. You know, it's been around for actually. I would argue remote closing has already been around for like 20, 30 years. You had those info products by Russell Brunson, Tony Robbins, selling in the 90s and like the early 2000s, but only recently it's been popularized. But yeah, it's only getting bigger, it's only growing. And now it's just a matter of taking those sales skills that you have, selling from whatever industry you're selling in, and just adapting it for the online space. And then the next level beyond that is using what you've learned as a remote closer and then seeing where you can plug in other forms of value in someone else's business or perhaps even in your own. That's really the next step.
100%.
Oh wait, I gotta ask you a question. My bad. Okay, cool. What would you say is the number one misconception people have about high ticket sales?
Honestly, so the number one misconception is you don't need a personal brand to sell online and to sell high ticket, and it's completely false. Personal brand is extremely important. I would go as far as saying that having a personal brand is more important than learning how to sell in 2025 as a high ticket sales coach. And I say this because without a personal brand, how is anyone going to know that you're good at sales, right? There's two people applying for a job. One person is a well-known person in the sales industry with a personal brand. Another person has a couple million cash collected. So what? They're always going to go with the person with a personal brand. So in 2025, if you're not posting, if you're not building a personal brand, chances are you probably will eventually get replaced by AI. Personal brand is your hedge against AI in 2025 and into the future. I'm here with Corey Johns on the yacht.
I heard personal brand. I had to come up and say hi. What's going on over here?
How we doing, big dog?
We're doing fantastic, man. Look at the skyline. We're in fucking Miami. We're chilling. I agree with literally everything that you said, just from the little that I said. If you're not building your personal brand in 2025, then you are not taking the axe to go mine gold in California. That is literally digital currency. Monetization of attention is the new gold. So if you're just sitting back, just scrolling and giving all of your energy to Instagram, then it's not going to be nearly enough because you're going to be consuming. You need to be a creator, not a consumer. And the way to do that is to start just posting as much as possible about whatever. Eventually, you'll find your people, and then you can figure out how to monetize that if you want. That's it.
100%. And we're here in beautiful Miami, right? All of us living in different places. Mitch actually lives here. Corey lives in Sinaloa. I'm in Mexico. You got people from all over the globe, and it wouldn't be possible without the internet. The creator economy is set to 3 times in size over the next 5 years. Mitch, I have a question for you, man. What's the easiest way for someone who's complete beginner who wants to get into the online space in 2025?
Well, at this point, there's so many resources out there online. There's so many free resources like YouTube University, that kind of thing. You got a whole ton of Alex Hormozi videos on YouTube. You got Jeremy Miner, right? But with that said, like, most people cannot just get by by just watching some videos and applying to some jobs in Facebook groups. Like, the chances of you actually nailing it and learning what you need to know and landing the job that you actually need to really get started the right way is pretty low, right? So it is actually important to invest into yourself, invest in mentors, invest in knowledge, invest in networks. Yes, sorry, bro, like, you have to pay to play, but that's just like the name of the game, right? Like the same way people pay $200,000 fucking dollars to go to college, right? And then still probably not land the job that they want anyways for 5, 10, 15, 20 years. They're not making as much as they want to make. You kind of have to go to the school of hard knocks, and sometimes to make that shortcut and to circumvent, you should be, investing in yourself. So you said something interesting about, like,
Gotta get back to it.
all right, Corey, we'll see you later. So you said something interesting about, how if you don't have a personal brand as a closer, then people won't know that you're good, and they'll hire like someone else that does have a personal brand. Now, let's say that you have someone applying to sales roles that does have a personal brand. How do you actually know that they're good, and how do you not let yourself get closed by their personal brand versus actually vetting that they know what they're doing on a sales call?
Yeah, from a sales manager standpoint, right? You're always going to be more drawn in from the social proof of someone else. However, always review someone's best sales call and their worst.
Okay.
When you're hiring, ask for their best and their worst sales call, right? Review it. And don't just review one or two, review a bunch of them, because you never really know until you see it with your own eyes. People could say, and they could even lie, they could even fake a commission tracker, but if you see someone's sales skills and they're clearly bad, bro, don't hire them. Even if they have 1 million followers on social media, it's super important to do your due diligence and not just hire and hire and hire to fire. Hire the right people. Hire the right people from day one, and then your organization will 10x. Mitch, you're a sales manager. You've blown up organizations from zero to hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars per month. What have you noticed, man? What's the biggest and the easiest lever for someone who's at $50,000, someone who's at $100,000 a month? They want to get to $500,000 or $1 million a month.
Yeah, for sure. So oftentimes when a business is doing 50K a month, 100K a month, even 200K a month, they think that they need to put more money into ads, and just generate more leads. Now, when I actually take a look at their system, I see that they're not actually optimized. They're not actually firing on all cylinders. Their appointment booking rates are not as high as they should be. Their close rates are not as high as they could be, right? So this business that is currently doing 50 to 100K a month can actually be doing double that with the same amount of ad spend if they just fix a couple of levers around the edges. And so what we do in our sales consulting business is we implement conversational AI to help increase booking rates, show rates, and close rates, because now the prospects feel more connected to the business. It's more interactive, and they actually feel heard and understood, even though it's all powered by AI. And the next thing that we do is we implement AI to coach. And the next thing that we do is we implement AI to actually coach up the closers and the setters and analyze what they're doing right and what they're doing wrong in order to keep on optimizing the sales team, hiring the right people, and have something to go off of when we do train these setters and closers, so that they keep on, so that they can start outperforming their old self and getting better results for the business. So those are the lowest hanging levers that we pull. And dude, like, I wanted to touch on something that you mentioned earlier around like asking people for their worst sales call. And so I wanted to touch on something that you mentioned earlier, right? Like, you talked about asking sales rep candidates for their worst sales call and for their best sales call. Now, what can someone that is not a sales expert listen for on these calls to actually judge whether they should hire this person or not? Let's say that someone doesn't have the luxury of having a sales expert listen to those calls.
It's tricky, right? If you're not already great at sales as a business owner, if you're not already great at sales as a business owner, you should probably invest in sales coaching, because at the end of the day, when you're hiring, you need to be a sales expert if you want to maximize your hires.
Yeah.
But if you're someone who's a beginner and you don't have a lot of sales expertise and you're still hiring,
Yeah.
and you're still hiring, I mean, the best way to do it is listen to their process, right? Are they following a framework? Do they have the right questions at the end of the call? Are they force closing? Or are they building up internal pressure to get the person to buy on the call? Look at those aspects. That's really, really important. Also, are they just selling with hype? Or are they coming from an authentic selling standpoint? These things, for me, those are the most important things. Because you could get someone who's amazing at closing, like really, really good, and they sell with hype and inflate people's results, maybe even borderline lie or inflate the truth. And then that comes back to bite you 10 times more. Even if you hire them and your business 10Xs, all those people come back and start charging back. And I don't know about for you, but I've for sure hired people like that, and it's completely killed the morale of the team and ruined my bank account. So, Mitch, for you, like, I want to ask you, like, for you, have you ever hired someone who is a little bit dishonest or maybe extends the truth and it's come back to bite you?
I hate to admit that, yes, I have hired a person like that, and it sucks because they get really good results on the front end and you get all excited. You're like, oh wow, this dude is an awesome closer, and then on the back end everyone just wants their money back. Everyone wants a refund because he overpromises the types of results that people are going to get, and then they don't get those results and they don't take any ownership over it because they say, oh yeah bro, it's like super easy XYZ, and then they come back and they're like, I want my money back because this is not as promised. So yeah, as you said, man, it's it's biting everyone in the ass. And I think the most important thing that you can bet for when you listen to sales calls, regardless of if you are a sales expert or not, but if you're trying to hire somebody, listen into if the salesperson actually understands the prospect. Does the prospect feel understood? You don't have to be this like master manipulator, NEPQ closer, just to be able to understand the prospect, listen to them, and then explain how what you're offering can actually help them. So I think that that's the number one thing that I personally look for and people should look for. And from there, okay, can they follow a sales structure? Can they follow directions? Can they update CRM? Like things like that, I know it's like minuscule, but it's important because the more disciplined somebody is, the better they're going to be under pressure, the better they're going to be if they're having a bad week, a bad day, some bullshit happens in their life. Like you gotta hire consistent people. That's the most important thing. Um, okay, all right, Damon, tell me this. What is your number one takeaway? Sorry, what is your number one lesson learned over the last 2 years of running your coaching business?
It's pretty interesting, at least for me, as a business owner, I know exactly what I need to do to get to the next level, but I have to ask myself, am I willing to do it? Right? It's always the things that we're pushing off in our business that are the things that are the most important, and they're going to move the easiest and move us the fastest to where we want to be. For me, it was filming new ads and filming a new VSL. I put it off for 7 months. The results were fine, but the second I did that one thing I knew I needed to do for 7 months, my business went 2x in a matter of 30 days. Oh, I'm pulling all these levers, trying to figure out what's going wrong when I knew exactly what I needed to do, and I wasn't willing to do it. So you got to ask yourself, like, what are you pushing off in your life right now that's holding you back from getting to the next level? And I don't know if that's ever happened to you, where you like see something and that you know what you need to do, you push it off and you don't actually take action, and it just holds you back. Has that ever happened to you?
It happens to me all the time. And, I'm actually really curious around that concept. How much of you pushing things off, and when I say you, I don't mean you, I mean people in general, is they're just procrastinating and they're like delaying success and they're delaying results as an outcome of their input? I'm going to rephrase that. So I wanted to ask you this, man. So how much do you think people delaying doing the thing that they know they need to do is them delaying the input, thus delaying the output, versus everything happening at the exact right time and the universe working in their favor? As in, the time that they decide to start procrastinating is the actual time that the universe wants them to start and make things happen. How much do you subscribe to that?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, brother, I'm just going to be real, like, that's some bullshit. Like, that's just how I feel. Like, obviously the universe works in mysterious ways, but if you're not putting any action in, how are you going to manifest everything? That's the core concept of manifestation, is taking action.
Yeah.
You could have the biggest goals. You could write down your affirmations. I make 100K per month. I make 100K per month every single day. But if you're not filming ads, you're not filming new creatives, you don't actually want to make 100K a month.
Yeah.
Right? So that's what it comes down to. You have to put the inputs in.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's things, and like, here's the thing, sometimes we're not ready for success.
Sure, exactly.
And that's totally fine. We don't actually want it bad enough. Sometimes something needs to happen. Sometimes you need to procrastinate. Sometimes you have to have a downward spiral to okay, boom, I made the decision. Then you become the person who makes 100K per month in 1 second, right? You don't chase success. You attract it by the person that you become.
Exactly, and that's exactly what I was getting at. How I feel like people need to become the person that insert whatever goal they have, because that person takes whatever action they're not taking in order to get that goal, right? So I'm glad we're on the same page there. Ask me a question.
Yep, 100%. Yeah, so Mitch, just kind of as we're wrapping up here, I know you're someone who's very, very in touch with your spirituality.
Yeah.
I guess for people in sales, how big of a factor does it play being spiritual, like really being tuned in with your spirituality in sales?
Yeah, I think it comes back to having a higher purpose, right? Like, if you look at your higher purpose as just, I'm here to take from the world, extract value, make as much money as possible, collect, that doesn't really align with what, in my opinion, the universe or your higher self wants for you. Your higher self wants you to be of service. Your higher self wants you to be of value. So the less you could think about sales as you, for lack of a better word, closing somebody and taking, it's more about giving and making people feel heard and understood and giving them solutions. Oh, and by the way, then you check your bank account and you just made 10, 20, 30K in the last month, right? Even just as a closer or even as a setter. I've seen it happen before. I've had it happen before. And then if you take even the next jump, right, and you really, really level up your skills and apply it to something that's higher leverage, then Holy shit, 50, 100, 150K a month just by helping people and being of service. Holy shit, that's amazing. That's the role of spirituality in sales specifically, in my opinion. Um, one more? Yeah?
I have a question for you, man. So, a lot of people watching this are going to be business owners. Maybe they're at like 50 to 70K a month or even 100K a month. So a lot of people who are watching this are business owners from 50 to 70 to even 100K per month.
Yeah.
And they want to take their business to the next level. You've done this for countless amount of people. You took blush dating from basically zero to how much at the peak? Like a lot. He can't say a lot. Hundreds of thousands of dollars. If someone wants to hire you and hire your team to come into their business and 10x it to take them to the next level, like where can they find you?
Yes, yes. So there's a couple of different ways to find me. The most optimal way is to find me on Instagram at Mitch Sapoff, MITCHSAPOFF. That's it. Add me on IG. Join my email list. My emails, I try to pack them with value, no chat GPT nonsense. I actually write them from the heart with what my latest takeaway is from the day or from the week or something like that. Should be really helpful even if you don't end up like working with me on a bigger scale. Awesome. Can I ask you something?
That's it.
Good?
All right, guys. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.